That does not define a man in the real sense of it. I know we have a picture in our mind. When you are talking about a man, you have an image, you know what it is all about, and you know whom you are. You know that you are a man, you know that you are a girl, or you are a woman, and so on and so forth. But just putting these thoughts together is what seems like a difficult task for some of us. And you must understand that you should be able to express yourself irrespective of the situation. Express yourself verbally and also on paper, most especially those questions that are applied in nature, where you cannot just copy something from the slide and then paste in an examination, where you need to use your brain, rack your brain and bring out some things. Those ones will require you expressing yourself on paper. So you should be able to define such concept as simple as a man in several ways. There are several ways of looking at that person that is a man by virtue of the physical features of the person and so many other ones. Remember, we are looking at the topic man and his cosmic environment. Man and his cosmic environment. Now, if you are talking about man, most especially within the context of our discussion today, we are looking at human generally, whether you are a man or you are a woman. And you must understand that the concept known as man denotes Homo sapiens sapiens. In anthropology, we talk about different stages that we pass through, most especially with respect to evolution. There is a theory of evolution, and in biology, in anthropology, and in disciplines like that, we talk about a man known as Charles Darwin. And this man was of the opinion that man evolved from such animals as ape. And we all know what ape looks like in the forest, or probably in the zoo. That at a point in time, we were walking on all fours, just like a goat, like a dog, okay? We were walking that way. And at some point in time, we started standing up as we are today. And that's where in anthropology you talk about Homo erectus. Homo erectus, that man that can stand upright, the one that is no longer walking on fours, okay? And today we have the modern man, the man that is intelligent, and that is the one that is known as Homo sapiens, as you can see on the board. And of course, that is just the notion of a scholar, and it was accepted by a lot of people, even though we have some other scholars that kick against such notions. For example, those that try to criticize that claim are saying if we actually evolved from apes, then we should not have apes in the world today. All the apes that are there now should have transformed to human beings, and we should no longer have ape. But till today, that statement is still there, and people will continue to study it because it is a claim that is substantiated to an extent. And of course, he also said that at the point in time we had tails, okay? And as we develop, as we evolve over time, the tail went in, so that when you look, you can't see your back. It's not possible for you to see your back, except if you are using probably double mirror. You place one mirror at the back, you place another one at the front. You want to see that place. But if you are looking at that of your sister or your brother, you will see the spinal cord, okay? And you see where it ends, in between the two sides of the bone, okay? That's where our tail used to be, according to the man. You have the right to accept it, you have a right to say it is wrong. That is not why we are here, but we are saying that human beings evolved over time, and that basically represents what man is all about. Now let's look at the second part of our discussion, which has to do with cosmos. And when you are talking about cosmos, you are simply talking about the universe. You are talking about the universe when you are making reference to cosmos. Just a minute, give me 1 minute and let me see. Okay, so when you are talking about cosmos, you are simply talking about the universe. And the universe transverses this part that we can see at this moment. Last week we talked about the environment, and we concluded that the environment represents the surroundings where both living and non-living organisms can be found. But when you are talking about the universe, it cuts across, okay? It goes beyond what we can see with the naked eye. And it includes that which is up there and those things that are underneath the earth, as well as the planetary bodies. All this represents the universe. You must have heard from people around before now that when you go up there, you are not just going to heaven directly. When you go up there are layers there. For example, in Abrahamic religion, if you are talking about Abrahamic religion, you are talking about those religions where people claim that Abraham was a progenitor. Abraham is the father of people that belongs to this religion. You talk about such religion as Judaism, where they are making use of Torah as their holy book. You talk about Christianity, where they are making use of the Bible as the only book. Then you talk about Islam, where the only book is the Quran. So all these theory, they are known as Abrahamic religion. Now, to the adherents of this religion, they believe that we have different layers of heaven. Okay, how many do we have? How many heavens? 7. Okay, we talk about 7. That's for these ones. Now, there are other religions where people believe that it is just one heaven, where some believe that it is 9, where some believe that it is 3, depending on the one you are practicing. But when we come to this balance, we talk about different layers in the atmosphere, not heaven now, different layers in the atmosphere there, and we are still going to get to that. Then underneath the earth surface, there is also an assumption that we have different layers there, and that at the end of it you have an ocean, a sea underneath the ground. And people will tell you that when you dig your borehole or you dig a well, you are only trying to tap water from that sea underneath the earth's surface. And traditionally, some persons will even tell you that there is a world there, where people live. I'm not saying you should believe, whether you think it's a fake world or not, but it's just knowledge that is out there and that you should have an idea about. I've heard people in the past saying that there is a world in the ocean underneath the sea, that people live there, and that you have so many beautiful people there. If you are looking for the most beautiful ladies in the world, you should go underneath the ocean. Yes, you said? No, biosphere is here, where living things are. Okay, we are talking about under the sea. And some even said that new things, inventions, are coming from that place. It could be superstition, but that's what these people are saying. That before you have a brand new car in the world, it will exist there before they will create it there, produce it there, before bringing it to the world. And then they talk about man-made, for example, Mami water, man-made. And in real life, we've seen a pocket of cases of that a fisherman will say that he has been able to get a man-made. Okay? And all these news are flying all over the place that we get to hear about. And some persons will tell you that some people are coming from the spirit world. They will come to the markets to trade from the other world. They are not living here, they are living somewhere else. Okay? And some, they said they are even going to schools. Okay? That somebody will come from the spirit world and will go to a university as student. And then after school hours, the person will go back to the spirit world. And that's why you should be careful, most especially in terms of relationship. Get to know the person you are dealing with. At least know the brother of the person, know the sister of the person, the father of the person, the mother of the person, so that the person will not be coming from underneath the sea to school. And you assume that the person is human, just like you. Yes. Yes.
And the earth is not laid on anything.
No, it is laid on something. We'll get to that.
Like, can I leave the earth?
Can you leave the earth and go somewhere else? Yes, people have been leaving the earth now. Anywhere you want to go, people have been going. People have been living. See, if you are in class yesterday, I said when you are coming, you have to drop what we know about religion somewhere and open our mind to science. Religion will tell you that the earth is what? What's the shape of the earth? In religion?
Joint. The religion is flat.
In religion it is flat, but in science it is what?
Joint was flat.
Okay, so sometimes if this is a religious class, the way we will think will be different, but since it's a geography, an environmental, a science class, then we have to take it as it is. I will get to that place, okay, and it will be a proper time to answer your question. There is this notion about reincarnation in African society generally. Reincarnation, I want to believe it is not a strange term to anybody in this class. That when somebody dies, the person can come back. Okay? Sometimes, and it is of different forms, some persons will tell you that when your grandpa or an old parent dies, he may choose to come back to life to live with one of his children, so that one of his children will now give birth to that Baba that died. Okay? And some people, most especially some cultures, they believe this so much that when that baby is born and you discover that the baby looks like your grandma or your dad or your grandpa, you will now be treating the baby like grandpa, respecting the baby. And it has been proven that some of these babies, they will smile like Baba, they walk like Baba, they move like Baba. The way he carries himself when he was on earth is still the same way they will be carrying themselves. And that really convinces these people that it's actually the Baba that is back. That one is a part of it. There is another one when it comes to reincarnation in Africa, where people believe that there is predestination, that before you are given birth to, God has already assigned a lifespan for you, that okay, this person is going to spend 70 years on earth. Now, if for one reason or the other, probably as a result of activity of witches, wizard, or your own nonchalant attitude, like you crossing the express without looking at the right on the left and something happened, blah, 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 and the person dies maybe at the age of 20, 21, 24, not up to that 70, that the person will leave the current community and then will go to another community to continue his life till he will become that 70 years old that has been assigned to him right from creation. That there is a mystical belief as such. And even in Nigeria here, we've seen cases in which somebody will say that somebody that died, let's say in Kaduna, is now living in Lagos. And sometimes some of them will even have wives and children. I saw someone on social media recently that the person died in the east and the person reincarnated and is now living in Lagos. And one day, somebody that knows the person from the village saw him in the market and called his name, let's say Obama, and then Obama disappeared. And the wife of Obama was there. So the wife grabbed the person that whatever you did to my husband, you have to undo it now, because they can no longer see it. And the person was like, this guy is dead now, blah, blah, blah. And they had to go to the village, and it was confirmed that it's actually that guy, based on the picture that the wife produced. It was confirmed that it's actually that guy that's reincarnated to marry a wife and to give birth to 4 children. You have the right to believe it. Yes. Now, you have the right to believe it. You have the right to say it's a lie, it's not existing. But these are some of the traditional knowledge that our people are living with, that they believe. And going by that theory, quote and unquote, the person will still go to another city as long as the appointed time is not yet here. Let's say the person is now 40, he will still go somewhere else to complete the remaining number of years. And in that video, they were asking the lady, how will you get married to somebody whose mother, whose father you don't know, whose community you are not aware about? And the lady said that this man presented a father and a mother. I want to believe that you know that people are now renting fathers and mothers. They will really want to deceive you. The person will take you to a family house. He will pay some people to represent his father. Be my father for 24 hours. I'll give you 50,000 naira. I'll give you 100,000 naira. So people can be as bad as that. And that's why we have to do our own work very well before we go into any relationship. So we are talking about the universe, that it goes beyond the part that we can see, and it includes the astronomical body. There is a science known as astronomy, and it was through these people that we got to know about other planetary bodies, that we have other planets apart from the Earth. And it's via this science that we get to know about horoscope. You must have heard about horoscope before now. Now, that one is not a par with religion as well. If you believe so much in religion, you will assume that horoscope is nonsense. But if you sit down to study it, you will see some peculiarities about it. For example, you talk about the fact that some persons are Aquarius, a person like me, Aquarius. What's yours? You don't know? Maria, what's yours? You don't know? What? Leo. Miriam? Okay. So there is something like that, and we have a long list depending on the month in which you are born. And by the time you read about it, there are some characteristics about people that belongs to each of these, in terms of the way they behave, in terms of how they manage their emotion, the ones that get angry easily, the one that will not forgive easily, and so on and so forth. If you read about yours, you discover that it is true. And then people that belongs to each of these categories, there are people that they can fall in love with. Like, if you belong to this one, you are easily attracted to people that belongs to these other ones, and you can't be attracted to people that belongs to this. And for a person like me with my inquisitive nature, I have check and confirm over and over again. You check that of your daddy and your mommy to see if they are compatible. You say, oh, no wonder. Okay, then you try to look at people that you ever admired, that you ever like. That's true love, true admiration, not the ones you are deceiving. And you discover that you are compatible in a way. So if you are not compatible, the person will not even attract you. Okay, you will not be attracted to the person. So it really works in a way. And if you now go for the one that is not compatible, then that relationship will not last. And there is something known as earth sign, that some people, their own is air, some water, some fire. Okay? Now, yes, these are earth sign, the sign. Now, if this one and this one, if they decide to fall in love, maybe because this one is beautiful, or his father is the richest man in Nigeria, and you now fake love, and then it won't last, because water and fire cannot work together. Okay? So I know you say it's a lie as well. Okay, so we have so many lies that we have to deal with. If you are saying it is a lie, or you can just sit down, those of you that have so many years of experience of dumping somebody and taking another person, just go and confirm, and you see that likeness will be for people that are compatible with yours, and so on and so forth. So these are some of those things that we are dealing with in the world in which we find ourselves. And man cannot survive without the cosmos. Our survival is basically dependent on the cosmos, on the universe in which we find ourselves. Now we are moving on to the solar system. When you are talking about the solar system, you are talking basically about the sun and the planetary bodies, most especially as we have it today. And the truth of the matter is that both the Earth and these planetary bodies orbit around the sun. And during your days in primary school or secondary school, you must have been informed that we have 9 planets. But today, you must also be aware of the fact that we have 8 at this moment, and that they are no longer 9. And the distance of each of these planetary bodies from the sun varies, as you will see in the next slide. Now we have Mercury, which is the closest. Leave that place, come back to where I place you. We have Mercury, which is the closest to the sun. And from what you can see here, it is the smallest planet. Then the next one there is the Venus, which is the brightest of all the planetary body, and it has no satellites. Then we have the Earth, which is the third in that order, where we find ourselves today, and it has one satellite, which is the Moon. And I want to believe everyone in this class is aware of the fact that the Moon is not just what we see up there, it is also a place that you can go. And we have countries that have been able to send their astronauts to the Moon, and some of them have been able to pitch their flag there. Countries like United States of America, countries like India, and so on and so forth. Who was the first man on the Moon? Current affairs. Who was the first man on the Moon, to land on the Moon? Dr. Ajayi, you are doing well. I won't tell you. If you like, look for it. If you like, don't look. If you like, look for it. If you like, don't look for it. The first man to land on the Moon. And what's the name of that rocket? Like you have Air Peace, Mars Air, or maybe it was Rando plane that first landed there. So get the name of that. These are current affairs that you should know, whether you are a geography student or an accounting student, and they used to sell books about this in the past that will give you knowledge about all these things. And I want to believe they are still selling it now. Just that I'm no longer in secondary school to know whether it's available. But you have your brothers and sisters in secondary school. Let them teach you. Humble yourself. Let your sister in nursery school teach you some of these things that you don't really know. But the truth of the matter is, most of these superpower nations, they've been able to send their people to that place, and they are trying to see if that place will be habitable for people to start living there. Go and read about that after this class, and how people move there because of the force of gravity that you have over there, how they dress, how they move, and so on and so forth. Whatever you throw up there stays up. Here, the force of gravity will make whatever you throw up to come down, except for aeroplanes that can go beyond that force of gravity. And for students of physics, there's an explanation to that. Okay, now we have Mars with 2 satellites, and you have the names of the 2 satellites there. We have Jupiter with 12 satellites, and it is the largest planet in the solar system. You can have a question, if it's an OBJ question, asking you for the name of the largest planet. It is Jupiter. We have Saturn, which has 10 satellites. We have Uranus with 5 satellites. We have Neptune, 2 satellites, and the last one there, which has been demoted, is Pluto, which is no longer seen as a planet. Now, why? The why is on the board, or the answer to the why is on the board. Pluto was once considered one of the 9 planets in the solar system. Now, why the demotion? The first one here is that it is smaller than other planets, even smaller than the Moon, okay, of the Earth. Then it's dense and rocky like terrestrial planets, okay? It's dense and rocky like the terrestrial planets. Then its orbit is erratic. Its orbit, that's its revolution around the sun, is erratic. And one of its moons, Charon, is about half of Pluto size. So for these reasons and some other reasons that cannot be accommodated on the board, the planet known as Pluto has been demoted and is no longer seen as a planet. Do you still have a question? Yes? Yes. Now, yes, they will have names just like other ones, but you don't expect me to start listing it in this slide because the topic itself is not about Jupiter. It's just about the solar system and cosmos. So if you want to know more about this, you can do a little bit of research after the class to know the names of some of these, but it may not be necessary just because you are not a geography student. Just know that for the Earth we have just one satellite, but for others there are some that have no satellite at all. There are some that have more than one, and so on and so forth. Now, this is just an image of what it looks like. Okay, the planetary bodies and the sun and the whole orbit around the sun. Miriam Awal, come, relocate, leave that place. Miriam Awal, yes, come. Is there a seat there? Just take any position there. Leave that place. I've been looking at you over and over again, and I thought you would understand why I'm looking at you. Okay? So we have the sun there. You must understand that the sun is stationary, and the other planets revolve around the sun, just like we have it there. And of course, they are all held together by a gravitational force, and that is why none of them will fall down. Okay, there is a force that gives them a position for them to stay where they are, and that is what galaxies explain, as you can see in this slide. All these planetary bodies and the sun, okay, as well as their satellites, they form a collection known as galaxies, just like a collective noun, a collective name for this, and they are held together by a force of gravity. Now, let us focus on this place where we are, the planet that provides everything we need for us, the Earth. The Earth is the planet in which man lives. Of course, some persons said in the past, it seems as if people live on Mars, but there are disputes about that. Like, there is no consensus as to that. But of course, we know that people have been living on Earth, and we are still living on Earth till date. And this Earth is one of the planets, the third for that matter, and it rotates on its axis, and it revolves around the sun as well. And the Earth is spherical in shape, not flat. At a point in time, it was assumed that the shape of the Earth was flat, okay, but it has been proven over and over again that it's not flat but spherical in shape. And funny enough, some persons that made the notion that the Earth was not really flat, some of them were put to death for committing what is known as heresy. How will you say the Earth is not flat? You don't know God, okay, and then you must die. And a lot of people like that. A lot of discovery took the life of some scholars in the past, okay, that if you make a claim that, okay, this one is like this as a result of ABCD, they'll be like, hey, you are challenging the power of God, and then you must be killed. But today we are enjoying or reaping the fruits of the labor of those scholars, I want to believe you are aware of the fact that during the theological stage, when somebody is sick, the assumption at that point in time is that God is angry with the person. If you have any disease and so on and so forth, it's God that is angry with the person. And if things are moving on smoothly for somebody, then God is happy with the person. If somebody is not pregnant, it is God that is angry with the person. And when the person is pregnant, God is now happy with the person, not knowing that there are a series of things that could be responsible for that. Maybe the person has some disease condition that the person will have to treat before getting pregnant, or maybe the husband is misfiring or miscalculating, and so on and so forth. So some persons did some work that really apprehended most of these notions, that when somebody has fever, it could be malaria, and that this malaria is not just coming from heaven, it is just a mosquito, a type of mosquito that is causing it, not even all mosquitoes. So we are saying that the shape of the earth is spherical, and the earth consists of several spheres or layers. The earth rotates, and it is the rotation of the earth that causes day and night. Somebody asked a question earlier, if the earth is standing on something. As you can see in that image, you can see something that looks like a circle, okay, that holds them together. So the earth is on its orbit. This is the orbit on which the earth rotates or revolves around the sun. The sun, just like I said, is stationary somewhere, and then the earth rotates. And as the earth rotates, you have day and night within 24 hours. If this is your country, and the sun is here, when your country faces the sun, you will have daylight. It will be day for you, and gradually it's rotating, like when you are spinning something, but not so fast. Okay, so by the time your country backs the sun, you have night, and then it will be morning in some other countries. And that is why today it can be 7 a.m. in Nigeria, it will be 8 a.m. in another country, 6 a.m. in another country. It is morning in Nigeria, it is night in another country. Somebody said the world will not end today. Today is Wednesday, because it is already Thursday in another country. So if you have a feeling that the world will end today, Wednesday, you are deceiving yourself, because a country is already experiencing Thursday. So it means it is not today. So you can still enjoy yourself today. The world will not end today. And that's the same reason why you can leave Nigeria probably in the morning and then land in another country at night. Or you have a brother outside this country, you are saying, "Good morning, brother," and the brother is saying, "It is night here." Okay? In geography as well, we talk about the globe. We talk about the globe, that's the world in the real sense of it. We talk about these lines. What's the name of these lines? These ones are longitude. Okay, these ones are latitude. And you have one in the middle, which is the equator. Okay. And then we talk about Greenwich meridian. We talk about countries that fall on that line, like London, like Accra in Ghana. Yes. So we can measure our time from these countries. So if you are to the right of this country, you will either be +1, +2, +3 in terms of hours. Then if you are to the other side, it will be minus, 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 minus. All these things are knowledge that we should know a little about, and it determines day and night, it determines time and all that. Yes.
According to your globe, that means there is some country that have never known like.
According to my globe. Is it my globe or our globe? Is it this one? According to my globe.
Yes.
And this one is my globe. Okay, you are right. But we are all living within the confine of this globe. So you are saying, okay, according to this, that there are some countries that are not experiencing sunlight. Now, in geography, you talk about countries at the polar region. These are the polar region. And then you talk about permafrost. Permafrost, where you have ice permanently. Yeah. And what will melt the ice? It is sun. So you are having permanent ice there simply because there is no heat from the sun to melt the ice. Okay, so they won't be able to experience sunlight because it is somewhere there, stationary there, and their own part of the earth will not feel the impact. But there is something that we'll get to later on, which has to do with global warming. That is changing the narrative now, so that those areas where they have permanent ice before now, sometimes now they won't have that ice all through because of global warming. We talk about Greenland, we talk about Alaska, we talk about those areas where you see birds known as penguins. You know those birds that will stand, that used to walk like this, like white chest. This place will be white, black at the back, and then they'll be walking like this. Okay, so they live in these areas. Now, having said that, let's talk about the revolution of the earth. The rotation of the earth happens within 24 hours and it causes day and night. Okay, and there is a variation to this because 10 p.m. in some countries it will still be daylight. You know, as from 7, 8 in Nigeria, you have darkness all over. In some countries, they are on 10 p.m. Everywhere will still be clear, depending on your location. Now, when you talk about revolution of the earth revolves around the sun for 365 days or 366 days. 365 days on a normal year, 366 days on a leap year. This year is a leap year. What is the difference between a leap year and a year that is not a leap year? My friend, second to the last, that row, you were laughing. That means you know everything we are doing here. So tell me what a leap year is all about. A leap year is a year that has one more day. Okay, one more day. And okay, every 4 years. Okay, leave that place. You are praying that you should not stay where people are making noise. Find your way to this place. Okay. Now, when you are talking about a leap year, the month of February in that year will have 29 days instead of 28 days. Okay, so that's why we are saying that the earth revolves around the sun either in 365 days or 366 days. Miriam, I hope you are not making use of your phone because you are smiling. And the person is talking to me in my class and then you are smiling. Let it be funny. Okay, don't worry, next time I won't give an alert, I will just collect the phone. So, we are done with rotation of the earth and revolution of the earth. And your smile is just for you. I've been saying a lot of things. I can read a lot of things psychologically. Greet him for me. biosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, spheres of the earth. We have different spheres of the earth. The first one is the biosphere, as one of the spheres of the earth. It is the part where human beings live. Biosphere from the word bio, okay? That is a layer of the earth where you have plants, where you have animals, where we have microorganisms in terms of bacteria and so on and so forth. And all these have roles to play in the world, whether good or bad. Next to that, we have the hydrosphere, which has to do with the water bodies. And you must understand that the largest percentage of the earth is made up of water, okay? And that is why when you take a look at this globe, all these parts where you have blue color, this sky blue color, represents water, and they are of different forms in terms of ocean, in terms of sea, in terms of rivers, in terms of lake, in terms of streams, springs, and so on and so forth. I think it was last week that we mentioned the names of different oceans, talking about the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, and so on and so forth. If you are to take a good look at this, you see the names of different oceans there. Then you talk about seas, Red Sea, Mediterranean Sea. I guess I gave you an assignment that you look for the names of other ones, though not an assignment that you are going to submit, just for the sake of knowledge that you should find out about it. And from the consonances that I can read on your face, it means that you did not do the assignment. You did not bother. Don't worry now. Let's see who is the lecturer is and who the lecturer is at the end of the day. If I give an assignment just because you are not going to submit it and you decide not to do the assignment, let's continue. Let's just play like that and see what will happen. Then we have lakes. Okay, one is very close to us in Nigeria. We talk about Lake Chad. You leave Nigeria, you find several other ones. It is good when you know a lot about this, and you won't believe if I tell you that most of these things that I'm telling you, I'm just using my secondary school knowledge to say some of these things, because as you are speaking, ideas will be coming, and most of these ideas, they are coming from secondary school. May God bless my secondary school teacher, Mr. Aro Shoro. Now Dr. Aro Shoro is the one that taught us geography, very sound. And all these things that I'm telling you was the one that taught us in secondary school between SS1 and SS3. Okay. You said I should give it to you. Okay, when I'm leaving, I will give it. Or if I can get another one, then I will buy and give you. Okay, that is what the hydrosphere is all about, the water bodies that we have. And you can see here that water covers about 71% of the earth's surface, and we can confirm that here, all these blue colors. And 98% of these 71% are found in the oceans. And that's where you have all these very big vessels that transport things from one country to another countries. And when you talk about glaciers, you are talking about those places where we have ice, okay? Where people, what's the name of this thing that you use stick, something like stick to do on ice? Okay, you find people doing that, and it's a form of sports in some countries as well. Then we have the atmosphere. And of course, when you are talking about the atmosphere, you are looking up there, okay? I think it was in a class that I wanted to confuse somebody. And where is the atmosphere? Is it here or here? The person said here. Okay, so the atmosphere is up there, but the truth of the matter is that it's in different layers, and within the confine of the atmosphere we have gases, whether it is oxygen, whether it is hydrogen, nitrogen, and so on and so forth. So as much as you can produce some of these gases in the laboratory, some of them are existing naturally up there. For example, oxygen, the one we breathe in, we get it from these plants around us. They breathe that out. The carbon dioxide that we send out, they take it in. So we have oxygen freely in the atmosphere. Even at that, it can be produced in the laboratory, most especially those ones they use in the hospital for somebody that is struggling to survive, gasping. Okay, they will produce it, they will get it in a cylinder and stock it in clinics. So it can be produced artificially, and as well it is available naturally. So we have different layers in the atmosphere, and we have the list here, starting with the troposphere to the stratosphere to the mesosphere, thermosphere, and ionosphere. You are expected to know this by heart and to know the distinguishing features of each of these layers of the atmosphere, so that when you leave this place, you are not just going straight to heaven. And of course, most of us are aware of that, most especially when you are inside the plane. And when the plane is up there, you won't even see any building down. You just see cloud under you. And some persons are even scared to look at that thing. Like, you look at it and you be like, hey, if anything happens here, straight to heaven or to hell. Okay? God is great. So we have different layers up here in terms of the atmosphere. Of course, geography will not talk about heaven. It is in religion that we talk about heaven. Yeah. Okay. So geography will talk about different layers up there in the atmosphere. Then we have the lithosphere, which is the solid or the rigid part of the earth. Okay, the rock sphere of the earth, both the ones that we can see here, because these ones that we can see up here, they have their roots down there. If you see a mountain like this, you can be sure that the root is deep down there, so that if you break this top, you still go deeper to break the ones that are there. And if you have ever witnessed the digging of a well, that's the manual digging that you use digger to do, you discover that there are different layers, and sometimes those that are digging, they will get to a part where there will be a rock, and some of them they will tell you we can no longer continue because there is a rock here. But thank God for science, there are chemicals that can be used to soften the rock, and then you'll be able to go deeper. But if you are using this borehole engine, it can drill, whether a rock is there or not, it can drill the rock and go down here to tap water from that place. And all this represents what the lithosphere is all about. So today we started talking about man and his cosmic environment, or man and the cosmos, and we try as much as possible to understand what man is all about in terms of the fact that it represents human beings generally, Homo sapiens. We move on to define cosmos as the universe, the entire universe where we find ourselves, the ones that we can see, and those ones that you will need a powerful instrument to see in terms of the planetary body. We talk about the solar system, which represents the sun and other planets. We mentioned the fact that in the past we used to have 9 planets, but Pluto is no longer seen as a planet. We talk about the rotation of the Earth within 24 hours that causes day and night. We talk about the revolution of the Earth within 365 days or 366 days. We move on to talk about different spheres or layers of the Earth in terms of the biosphere, in terms of the hydrosphere, in terms of the lithosphere, in terms of which other one am I leaving behind? Atmosphere. Okay, and I also told you that the atmosphere has different layers, be it ionosphere, stratosphere, and so on and so forth. If you have any question about this, you can raise the question now. Yeah, it's okay.